we are going to talk about the journey to this published book, The Gifted Chef. I like to start cover to cover. So first, we are going to talk about the book's illustration. Please tell us where this illustration was derived.
Well, actually, it was a vision for my daughter, Sheltia Wright. She's the one that actually brought the image out. The But the art itself is just it's a level of where I started from a child to a teenager, and now I'm a grown woman. So with it and with the journey that I had, that it that is kind of self-explanatory by itself with itself. You know, basically always staying and talking to God and actually having Him lead me on everything that I do, what I cook, how I feel, anything. So it's more of a spiritual. So that's why it's called The Gifted Chef.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I love because her imagery, her daughter was able to capture exactly what she just spoke on, her journey from being a child to being a teenager to being an adult. And everything is pretty much described in the stories within these pages. She is very detail oriented as well, her daughter Deja. And the word, the gifted chef and gifted, the dot on her eye is actually a halo. You can't see it probably from the camera, but when you get this book, you will see the golden halo over the eye. So I really thought that was a special touch and the perfect name for what I have read within the lines of these books. On the back of the book, as a publisher and editor, I like to personalize it. Either I'll use a quote from the person's story, the author's story, or put my review. But there was a line in this book that she wrote that tied together what happened, her experience when she believed that she was driven to the art of cooking. And it says, "Then one morning I felt different. I walked around the house and turned toward the kitchen. Now don't get me wrong, I had lived in this house for years and never felt like this before. I felt like someone was pulling me. I said to myself, no, I can't cook. So I did everything to avoid cooking. The next day, I had the same feeling again. What is wrong with me, I thought. Finally, I looked up at the ceiling and said, okay, Father, I'll try this cooking thing. I started to pull out vegetables and meats from the fridge and freezer. I looked at what seasonings there were. The feeling I had at that moment was so oddly familiar. It was like second nature when I mixed the ingredients together. I was so happy. For me, cooking took the pain away." And that was the quote from one of her many stories in this book. So, how did it feel that day? Did you feel like you, even though you knew you had been in your home, you know, for several years and living there, did it feel like you were having an out-of-body experience?
Actually, that's what I was about to say. It was more like I was feeling like I could see myself, but I'm looking at myself standing there and like, it felt different, like everything I was looking at, all the way down to the same seasonings that I've seen many times before. So when I start touching it, it's like I already knew what to do. And one thing with me, because of the difficulties of reading ingredients and actually taking instructions, I just stopped them. No measurements, nothing like that. It's like second nature.
Wow.
So,
And that leads me to a point that I was going to make that she didn't even know. So I had inscribed in her book my editor's note because, once again, this is not your ordinary cookbook. So I made sure to note to the readers what to expect in this book. It is always my honor and privilege as an editor to get the first look at an author's story. Not only do I have the task of making grammatical corrections and formatting edits, but I'm able to get deep into the mind of the authors and go beyond the surface of the words on the pages to bring forth what an author is feeling and envisioning as they write. I've been truly inspired by Sheltia's story. She provided me with the challenge of figuring out how to remain true to her speech and reading delays while making this an easy read for anyone on any level. This is definitely not a for dummies style cookbook. You have to have a general knowledge of the kitchen and how to prep ingredients and use the oven and stove properly. Nevertheless, I found myself more engaged in her stories that the recipes were like the cherries on top. I'm proud of this young woman I happened to meet at an event that she catered, and she so graciously asked, after learning what I do, if I could assist her in publishing her cookbook that she'd been working on for quite a while. When I made it to the end, I realized that this is only the beginning of more of her compelling story already lived and still being written. Bon appetit. So, as she described, she's not okay, 2 teaspoons here, 2 tablespoons there. Of course, we did it for good measure, but like most master chefs, it's all about the feel. It's all about, hello, welcome, come on in. It's all about the feel when you're cooking. And Sheltia has expressed many times that she has a love for cooking and the way that it makes others feel, to taste her cooking and the passion that it gives her, the feeling that it gives her to provide this type of service for others. So I was really touched by that, and I want to make sure you do that and others do that when they take on the reading of this book. You're welcome. Now, Sheltia has had a lot of inspiration. One of those we have pictured here is her late grandmother, Miss Lisi M. King, and she is pictured in the book. Tell us, because when I read this quote on the back of the book, there was something else that she added where that she felt like her grandma was right there with her. Yes. So where does she fall into your story?
Well, one thing about my grandmother, she always had me in the kitchen, like close by. So as a child, I remember getting the cake spoon. She always made like homemade cakes and stuff like that. So I always was the one that do the tasting. Yes. So that was something, and just watching, but never knew that I was watching to actually mimic and learn from her. So
that's how we learn. We learn from watching. We learn from repeating what we see the most, being done in our lives, and that was a memory that was embedded into you, apparently, for this reason.
Yes. Never knew.
Yes. Talk to us about what the readers are going to learn. I mentioned your speech and your reading delays, but give us a little tidbit without giving us too much of what is going on with you and why this means, having published a book means so much to you.
Well, this book is more of an inspiration book. I've had, a lot of people actually tell me that, I wouldn't make it so far because of my reading or trying to understand or, just just deal with life itself. I mean, I had where people would tell me it's nothing wrong with it, but, I would have a job where, I'd just be working in stores and stuff like that, or I should be in a group home. And they never, it was more like, I can't. So when it's like, when you tell me I can't, that definitely motivates me all the time to say, you know what, I'll show you. So when I want to tell people, I actually don't let people dictate how your life will be, because they can control it. You can only control your destiny. So that was my inspiration for this book, and I really want to help people to keep going. Don't settle just for anything.
And so what are your actual delays?
My place, I have dyslexia. I actually too have where math problems, reading, spelling, like you said earlier, I mean, I had where the doctors and said, I actually, this has came on with me when I've gotten in an accident as a child. This is when I've fallen out the window and doctors told me, hey, told my parents, my mom. I want to be able to walk, talk, and really speak. This is basically from young, I was 4 to the age of 40 something.
Mhm.
Like,
It's all right. You still here. Every year is a blessing.
yes, yes. So this is basically its motivation.
Yes, absolutely. And then she said she's been dealing with dyslexia, speech delays, and other, just falling behind in school because of that tragic accident that she experienced at the tender age of 4. I was so surprised to see the way that your journey, it just kept going. And the way that she told her story was so objective. It was like, okay, I'm gonna share this about my life, we're gonna talk. And then when it got a little deep, it was like, okay, recipe time. So you're gonna find her recipes. Like I said, you're not gonna find a spiral book with page and page of recipes. You're going to find the recipes like hidden gems within the story, which is why I put a quick reference guide, because if you want to, read the story and then go back and cook, then you'll be able to find the recipes on these pages. But the way in which it was written, it was really like you're just engaged in, like, hey girl, oh, by the way, if you mix this and that together, and get you a nice meal. But getting back to the story, so it just really, the way that it was very sequential, but it was just like every word you were just like hanging on. And then you're reminded, oh, this is a cookbook. Like, oh, okay. But it was really divine. She talked a lot about her parents and growing up, so we did make the dedication to her mother and father. And her dedication reads, I dedicate this book first to my mom that believes in me and my daughter that helps me keep going. Second, I dedicate this to the ones who called me stupid and dumb and told me that I wouldn't make it in the world. Most of all, I want to thank God for giving me the vision and a gift. So we have her parents, Daisy and Anthony Holloway, here in the book, and a special treat at the end of the book. We have her daughter, Deja, pictured right here. Look at her. So yes, and when I said in the beginning that when I got to the end of the book, I realized that this was just the beginning of her story that's still being written. This book actually is like a cliffhanger because it left off at her becoming pregnant with Deja. Now Deja is what, in her 20s now?
Yes.
So look at all that life that has still happened for her since she ended this particular book. So
She's
is
just
that
20.
a tease?
Danger is just 20.
Yes. So is that a tease for another book coming? Because I'm ready. Already. We just got this one out, but the way it left was like, oh, wait a minute, because I have to know what happened from that point. So you have another book in the works.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
I do. It is. I'm trying to give it at least think by next year,
Okay.
around the same time.
Beautiful, because her story truly is so compelling, and not because drama and the reasons that some people like to get in people's business. Everything that she writes is with purpose and the purpose of inspiring others. And as she said, you tell her no, and that's like fuel for the fire. She's gonna keep going until, not because she want to prove you wrong. That's just whatever, that comes with the territory. But because she has to prove it to herself that, like she said, you can't tell me, you can't write my story, you can't predict my destiny. I'm in control, and she remained in control despite so many odds. And you see, she continues, and it just gives me such inspiration. It was such a delight as an editor and a fellow writer and a lover of food, to be able to be a part of making this all come to life for her. And it happened so quickly. Like seriously, like we were talking, and this was just this past February. It doesn't seem like it was that. Well, it seems like it was a longer time ago. But we moved so quickly on this. She was so diligent in getting the material to me, and was still going through a lot of things in her personal life, even up until we got to this point, you know, we didn't even know if she would be able to make it today to be here present for her release party. We thought we were gonna have to video her in and use that TV and talk to her. I was so happy when just Tuesday she was like, I'll be in Virginia. I was like, yes, oh my gosh. I told everybody, I was like, dang, she's gonna be here. We were all so happy because, you know, it's just a different feeling for you to be able to see your work, to hold the book in your hand. It's different from looking at the computer and saying, okay, yeah, I approve this, but to actually see your words tangibly for everyone to take part of. So,
So, excuse me, how long did it actually take to write the book?
yes, thank you.
Actually, I've written it.
You say you
I
started
started
in
writing
February.
it. Yeah, I started writing it before my mom passed.
Okay.
So that was like maybe over about 4 years ago. So when I started writing it before, and I had my mom read the first draft,
Oh my goodness.
and she was the one that was like, awesome.
Wow.
So it was like, she was like, keep going. No, stop. So I did stop for a while, because first when my mom passed, you know, it was a dark cloud. So I stopped. I would look at it. I don't feel like it. So actually, it took me about a good almost 3 years.
3 years?
Three, 3 years forward.
Okay,
So,
okay,
and then I paused, and then
okay,
it just came like this.
okay.
Beautiful. So yeah, that is quite some time. I didn't even realize that because it came to me, she was done.
Mm-hmm.
So all I had to do was put it together. One thing that really surprised me is that with what she shared about, you know, the dyslexia, excuse me, and wanting this to be able to be read by people that struggle as well. Excuse me. I thought that I was going to have a lot of stuff to do as far as editing. When I tell you, this was so well put together. There was really not much that needed to be, aside from format and maybe a couple of grammatical errors, but it was so well put together that I was just like, it was just more a testament to what she's overcome. Very well spoken, beautifully written. She was, like I said, was so objective. She didn't write with emotion regarding the things that she had been through, and it was a lot of traumatic experience. She didn't write with blame for others. She didn't write with, you know, any accusatory language, derogatory language, even no ill will towards those who apparently had a lot of ill will towards her. It was really just, this is my story. This is what I did to overcome. And this is why I kept going. And this happened then, but then I kept pushing. Like, it was just, it really was beautifully told, beautifully written. And, you know, as publishers, we like stuff like that. You know, it's very easy to get through, which is why we were able to get through it so quickly. And, you know, bring it to you all to enjoy. Any more questions from the audience?
Oh, yes, oh, absolutely. Can you explain the condition? What is the condition again, and what is that? Can you explain what it is? You say
I think you might have
dyslexia?
came in after we talked about your dyslexia.
Yeah, dyslexia. Dyslexia
What is that?
is basically is many of things. Basically, it's like the pausing, the hard to speak, evidently. Spelling, learning disabilities, like a slow. It takes a long time for me to understand, and sometimes it's with focus as well, because it's me. I have different others. Like I have where I don't understand. Like, you know, people can have a regular conversation, and it's like, you gotta talk about, or if somebody tried to explain something to me, I really sometimes don't understand.
I don't see that at all in you, Danielle. I'm your aunt. I don't see that. I mean, are you sure you have that condition?
Yes, I have.
For real? Is that and that came from the fall?
Yes.
Wow. I don't see that at all, sweetie. I really don't.
Yes, dyslexia is a learning, it's considered a learning disability where people who read will see words on the page differently.
Yeah.
So we'll read a sentence that says the dog said woof, and she may read that and the words are either going backwards, they're standing out. So she might say woof, the dog said, or the wolf, and not even pay attention to it was the dog that said wolf. So it manifests differently for people, but the gist of it is people who struggle with reading. And not just from a literacy standpoint, but again, the way that you see the words on the pages. In addition, what she was explaining is that due to her fault, she had other delays. Normally when you have a reading delay or a speech delay, it is going to manifest in every area of learning for a person. So if you have, because you know, reading is fundamental, it's like the foundation for learning. So if you're unable to read properly, then you're going to struggle in math, you're going to struggle in, you know, all the histories and sciences, because you're either going to not understand what you're reading, you're going to have a problem retaining what you're reading, and even comprehending. Like she said, sometimes it's difficult for her to understand. And you know, as families, sometimes we're too close to a situation to see, you know, we'll see our children, you know, growing up and we're thinking everything is fine and not really understanding what their difficulties are. We might think it's, you know, just the way she talks or just the way she is, or, you know, you're just being silly. But, you know, it really does affect a number of people. Sometimes it is neurological to where, you know, they may be born with a delay or develop, like you don't see this when the child is born. It's not until they are put into learning settings that a lot of them realize to, you know, reading and learning. So hers being triggered by, you know, that traumatic head injury, you know, it's just another way that it manifested in her, because who knows, had that not happened, she may not have had the difficulties that she began having. I've noticed in you know, talking with her, even in her sending messages, sometimes I'll just send her back and it straight would say, huh? Because it's like, I think I know what you're trying to say, but I don't like to project for people, so I just want her to, you know, explain to me, and sometimes that's when we end up on the phone actually talking, because sometimes that's best, because it might have been something that I wrote that she didn't understand what I was saying, and vice versa. And so I have seen it evidenced, and even when we're having conversation, whole words that are supposed to be there, we can fill in because we know what someone is trying to say as they're speaking, but whole words will be missing, and it's kind of like a puzzle, like you gotta fill in the blanks as she's having a conversation.
Well, I've seen that with people who don't even have that condition. So that can go for a lot of people that's not even educated, or just not good when it comes to writing.
Yes.
Or just not taking their time. So, like I said, I don't see it, Danielle, at all. I would have never known anything about you having this condition. And you know my age, so I don't have to tell it. And I would have never known she had this condition until she was telling me about this book. And I'm looking at her like, you got what? I am so serious. I never knew anything about that, because I did not see anything different about it. Because you're so motivated. Every time I turn around, you're doing something different. And you're just succeeding. Every day you're just excelling. And you don't stick with just one thing. You just keep going, doing more and more and more. And I never knew you had that condition. I am so serious.
And that goes to show why she wants to share her story.
Exactly.
To be an inspiration to others. Because again, no matter what the diagnosis isn't more important than the treatment and what the person does with what it is that they have. Because your gifts will manifest in so many different ways, no matter what your ability. I like to call them special abilities, not disabilities. It's not what you can't do. It's using what you know that you can do. And this is what she has done and applied to every lesson in her life. So it's just, you know, a testament what you're saying. You've never seen it. You never especially thought she didn't even know that you were impacted the way you were. But you will find in the lines of these books, her situation really had a major impact on a lot of the things that took place in her life. And again, never with oh, it's because it is. It was just, okay, this is what I did, this is the lesson, this happened, I got this from it, and I'm going to keep it moving. And a lot of people struggle with being able to do that. The personal accountability, being able to take the lesson and to move forward. Like, she's done it all.
And what is your
And she
position, ma'am? Are you a psychiatrist or what?
Oh, that is my other.
Huh? Excuse me?
That's crazy.
What did you say?
Yes, I am a mental health professional as well.
Oh, okay.
But I am Christina Parker. I forgot she came in later.
Yeah, I
I'm
did come
Christina
in late.
Parker.
They gave me an address, right?
It's all
And I
right.
went directly to the garage. I'm
Okay.
like, okay, where's the library? Okay, Deja, why you didn't tell me this? I'm like, that's why I'm late. That's why I'm late, y'all.
On the camera, watching this stuff live. This is my Aunt Priscilla.
Yes, Priscilla is in the building. I'm glad you made it. But yes,
Thank
I'm
you.
Christina
Thank
Parker.
you.
I
Okay.
am the editor-in-chief of Parker Ferguson Publishing, LLC. We are the
Okay.
publishing company that brought her book into fruition, and welcomed you here to her book release party.
Thank
Yes,
you.
we are live, but it's okay. Bringing some spice to it,
Hey, always. You only live once.
We love it. We love it. So yes, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
And that you've been a support in her life as well.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Any more comments, questions from the audience? Say something. Yes.
Just a comment. Anika here, sister. I've known Daniel all my life. Sheltia, sorry, I'm not sure.
It's okay. I learned Danielle in the book.
Okay. I only know her as Danielle, but I've known her my entire life because I'm her baby sister.
Okay.
And so I have seen dyslexia manifest in her life my entire life. And I just want to say I'm incredibly proud of you for how you overcome it every day. You've never allowed it to hold you back, even when other people try to put you in a box. And this book is a testament to that. So congratulations, sis. I'm glad to be here, celebrate you, and I'm glad to get many copies of this book and share with other people. Thank you.
Say that again.
I said, I'm just looking forward to get some of the recipes and stuff.
Oh, I know, right?
And
Yes.
who are you, sir? Who are you?
She's so funny.
You like him now? When? Oh, I missed that part too?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm sorry, y'all.
Well, we ain't wanna call
I'm
you out.
sorry.
We're just gonna let
I'm
you go.
sorry, y'all.
Official announcement, I don't think it was on.
I'm sorry, it was when he
Oh.
came in and he hugged her. I was like, and now we have hugging.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry.
See,
That was
see?
that.
Okay.
That was a surprise because he actually drove.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's beautiful,
Oh,
Jay.
well, I'm glad you made it safely. I don't be wanting to crime stuff like when she came in with her daughter, I just like I had to stay,
Here in Georgia.
Yes. So welcome
Yeah, I told so
again.
many lies, I'm so ashamed.
I wasn't in the anything.
Oh, so it was a great surprise.
Yeah. So
Oh, look, and he came with a gift.
Wow.
And it's from Steve.
Well,
Nice, that's nice. Okay. Any more comments?
Yeah, Christina, I'll add something. So,
Yes, this is
I'm Henry Nager, and I sailed with Tia for at least 5 years aboard the USS Able. But anyway, the Able has a crew of about 50 to 54 people. We had Navy people, we had technicians, we had the civilian merchant marine crew all together in one ship. The steward's department that Tia led was 3 people, okay? It was a steward, it was a cook, and it was an SA, a steward assistant. So we're talking 3 people putting out food for 50 people 3 times a day. But not only that, lunch and dinner have to have at least 2 entrees served. Okay, so you're talking, it's an immense responsibility. But Tia started off as the cook. And one thing that I thought that was really important, not only being an excellent cook, top shelf, just great, but you get a lot of prepared food, okay? So here's your steak, and that is your steak, and then you just cook it up. Some cooks put it on the stove, on the grill, boom, here's your steak. But the way Tia would cook and put together a meal, you could tell that there was loving in that cooking. And there's a difference, okay? There's a steak that you put together, there's a steak that Tia would put together. It was like, oh, wait a minute, it's the same meat, how did you do that? But it was so much appreciated by the crew. And the other thing, you'd be gone, when you're underway, Merchant Marine, with the particular job that we did, it was special mission. So we would be underway for upwards of 40 to 50 days. Okay, and most times it wasn't the fuel that gave out, it was the food that gave out. You had to go in and get a replenishment of food. But no matter what, remember the time you ran out of eggs?
Yes.
Wow, I mean, okay, so eggs is very important, like bacon, very important on a ship.
Yes.
But Tia would make do with 1 egg, with 2 eggs here, we're gonna ration the eggs. But she managed to eke out 50 days with the eggs. But there was so much loving in her cooking that the crew appreciated. And when you have good food on a ship, isolated, underway, 40 or 50 days, the mess makes and when I say mess, I'm talking about the galley and the food and the product that comes out. But that is so very important because people look forward. What do we got for lunch today? What do we got for supper tonight? And people really look forward to that. Or they came back from the mess, like in the SOC tea, and I'd hear the Navy guys talking about how good the chow was. Okay, so Abel got the impression of being a good feeder, and that was all due because of Tia. But the other thing I wanted to bring up, so you go into port and you load stores, and stores is like 1 or 2 tractor trailers worth of food. The freezer is tiny.
Yeah.
Storage is just tiny. So we're talking 3 people with a couple of tractor trailers worth of food. But Tia would talk to the Navy, boom, so now she's got her Navy working group. She talked to the technicians, boom, there's a technician. She talked to the Japanese, for heaven's sake. Here come the Japanese.
goodness.
And then she's all happy with all her group. This is my group of guys. And the Japanese talk Japanese, they don't speak English, but they're there smiling. Tia would be out there in the middle of them, boom, 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 boom. I want it there, I want it there, I want it there, I want it here, I want that. And it was just, it was fantastic. And I'll just wrap it up. And whenever I sailed, after Tia became my steward, my chief steward, she was promoted from cook to chief steward. But after that, you baseball on a ship, which means if I'm captain, I sail 4 months, I'm off 4 months, I come back, I baseball with particular relief. So Tia was my steward. And whenever I would talk to crewing about who are we gonna have, who's the crew gonna be, first question, who's gonna be the steward? And it was so important for me to have Tia as my steward. And when you wrapped up the voyage, you always had, like, the dock was there until you left, your dock was there, and I always made sure Tia transferred on the same, not the day before, no, Tia sails, we sail together and we get transferred together, so she just did announce the best, I mean, I say it, but it's the truth.
Yes.
The absolute best chief steward I've ever sailed with.
That is beautiful.
So thank you, Tia.
And that was felt when he first entered. She's like, oh, get it. And he came in and he got it good for her as well. He added that he has been around since her daughter that we speak so much. She was
It's unbelievable, and I remember
So
that.
that is a long history. And to be requested is such an honor and a privilege because, Norfolk is the military area, Tidewater and stuff. So having family on ships and stuff like that and different events, whatever, even having gone to mini boot camp when I used to do NJROTC or whatever, like the mess hall is one of the most important places, seriously, because food makes people happy. You can get through people yelling in your face all day, people humiliate you, whatever. When you get in that mess hall and you sit and you have a good meal cooked, it's like it takes it away for a little bit. So it is very important, and to have somebody that loves what they do, because those are grueling conditions that he just spoke of. Being out, being away from home, being away from your family in small quarters with, having to make do, that's kind of like our life. Seriously, like having to make do with so little room, little materials, whatever. And being able to do that with a smile and that passion conveys to others that makes them want to jump in to be able to assist you. Like, it takes a special kind of person, and Sheltia definitely exudes that gift that she has claimed ever since she was younger. She speaks a lot about her gift, and she thanks God for her gift and when she discovered, and her gifts come in so many forms that you will find in this book, The Gifted Chef. So yeah, I'm like proud. Like, I feel like we family for real. Like, I actually, this is really personal. I called her and was letting her know some, challenges we were having as, a publishing company and things like that. And she was just like, I got faith in you. Like, wait a minute. We're going to get through this. And I was like, oh, this lady is amazing. You know what? Let's get this over and done with. And it's been wonderful. Do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with everyone before we get on with the book purchases and book signings? And we are going to toast Miss Wright and give her some special gifts. But give us your final thoughts on this book. What would you want to tell people that will compel them to read this?
I just want, honestly, to have, when you purchase this book, just have an open mind. And take it with you in heart as well. Try to look through my eyes. And with motivation, with people, just, I don't know, this is basically my life that I'm putting out there. And, because some people would like to keep things secret. They don't want people to know, they just know. And that's basically what it is. It's when you purchase it, this is just not, like you said, it's not a regular book. It's a journey. And it's going to be another journey. So I just want people to and share it. And I just appreciate it. I thank everybody for the love and support. Like I said, for the haters too. And thank them because they're the ones that started this. So thank you. But I just want to say I love you and thanks. Thank you. Yes.